We all want to grow in our careers, right? But finding the right resources, well, that can be tricky. Enter Rank Suite, your go-to for self-paced digital marketing training. At Rank Suite, they focus on what actually works. They're not just about SEO, they're about helping you develop the skills that matter in the digital world. Whether that's mastering technical SEO, diving deep into content strategy, or making sense of analytics, they've got you covered with fresh courses every single month. And they don't just hand you the basics and walk away. Many of their courses come with downloadable frameworks, worksheets, and challenges to help you apply what you learn. Who are our instructors? Industry experts who are out there doing the work every single day. They're not just talking about it. And the best part, they're committed to white hat, sustainable strategies. There are no shortcuts here, just actionable knowledge, peer-reviewed for quality. Are you ready to take control of your learning? Start your journey with Rank Suite today by clicking the link in the show notes. Use the code SEO Mindset at checkout to get a 30% discount and an extended 21-day free trial.
Hello, and thank you for joining me for another episode of the SEO Mindset podcast, where your hosts are my wonderful friend Sarah McDowell and myself, Tazmin Suleiman. New episodes of our podcast go out every single Thursdays. Every week you have an episode from us. Today you've got just me, because what I'm going to be doing is going into the archives of the podcast episodes we've already published and resurface an old one, but give you additional insights, which will just bring it to life even more. Now, the episode that I'm republishing this week is called Understanding Your Internal Algorithm. You know, we understand so much about the outside world, but understanding myself, that can sometimes feel really big and confusing. And the episode will help you chunk down your internal algorithm and really understand yourself better, which will help you make better choices, have a better career, so on and so forth. So it's a really great one to listen to. But I've got a question for you. Have you ever been stuck in a place where you wanted more from your life, from your career, but at the same time you didn't want to lose the security of what your current reality was? And if so, how do you get unstuck and move forward? How do you find that passion, find that your thing, your purpose? So what I want to do is share this exercise I came across recently in a TED Talk, which I think is really helpful and helped me, and it's been helping my coaching clients. And it's called the 9 Lives exercise. So this is how it works. Step 1 is you write down 9 lives that you wish you had, or 9 things that you'd like to do with your life. Now, life number 1 has to be your current life. The other 8, just go for it. Don't overthink. Don't ask yourself, is it really possible? Whatever your heart desires, whatever you really dream about, write them down, 1 to 8. When you've done that, take a look at all 9. So, like I said, number 1 is your current reality. Out of all of them, which is the one that you would have if there was no possibility of you failing, there was no lack of money, lack of resources, lack of time, your best one, whichever one that is, make a note of it. That'll be so close to your ideal life. What you need to be aware of is that is giving you a clue of what that ideal life looks like. And with time, you should be moving yourself closer and closer to that. So, recap, you've written down your 9. Number 1 is your current. Whichever is your best life. Now what? Step number 3 is, which elements of those other lives those energized lives could you start incorporating in your current life now? So, for example, it could be that you want to become a public speaker and be known for your public speaking. Now, can you incorporate some of that in your current? You don't need to do all of the things, but you have to really ask yourself, actually, why am I not doing that already? Maybe it's in a smaller what's the word I'm looking at? For example, if you wanted to write a book, like I talk about this a lot. I want to write a book. Actually, could I write a book about career development for SEO professionals? Actually, I could. There's nothing stopping me. So the idea is you go through all of these alternative lives that you really want to live and find a way to bring that, interjecting that into your life now. Because what you're doing is you're interjecting that passion into your life now. And again, what this exercise will give you is an awareness of what is important to you. And as I mentioned before, it's that awareness that I talk about in the episode about understanding your algorithm. Because as SEO professionals, we're familiar with algorithms when it comes to search engines. However, what about your own? When you understand yourself, you'll be able to progress so much further. So give the 9 lies exercise a go and give the podcast a listen.
I have the wonderful Billie Gina with me, the founder of Rank Suite, your go-to practical digital marketing training platform. Now, I have invited Billie to talk to us more about this awesome training platform, what SEOs can gain from signing up to Rank Suite, and the exciting things coming up. Hello, Billie.
Hey, Sarah. Thank you for having me back.
The pleasure is all mine. Now, you've got some pretty exciting news to share.
Indeed, I do. We are officially award-winning, so we can add that to the catchphrase line thing.
We can do. And I mean, huge congratulations. I mean, talk to us more about the award.
So it's a massive achievement. We've won the Best New Business from the Women's Business Club Awards, and that's on a global stage. So that's not just like UK or anything. It's huge, and I'm so overwhelmed. It's wild.
It is wild, but just goes to show what you've created is award-winning and amazing, and it's what the SEO community needs.
Feels like watching a child growing up or something. I'm just so proud.
You should be proud. You should be proud. Now, you being award-winning is news in itself. But I want to spend this time to get people excited for Rank Suite. And if they've not already signed up, get them really feeling that FOMO, right? So tell us, the platform already has a range of courses, but you've got more lined up.
Yes, so currently we have 10 courses, and we have 24 planning to come out within the next few months. This is everything from our huge learning path, which is to get beginner SEOs up to a confident and proficient level, covering everything from what is SEO to how to do internal linking audits and traffic drop analysis. So that's going to be huge. It's showing them exactly how to be good at the job. And then we have things for our experts and people that are more advanced. We've got specialized courses on e-commerce SEO, publishing and news publishing SEO. And we've even got an in-house mastery course coming, which is about the people skills and the change of dynamics from while you're working for an in-house company.
That sounds amazing. And really, Rank Suite is the gift that just keeps on giving, doesn't it?
Indeed, it does. We've got so many great names, great people who are working so hard and creating not just courses, but practical activities, tests. and just making this a really friendly and empowering community.
That's
It's going to be
amazing.
awesome.
And it's not just courses. I've heard rumors that there's also blogs and webinars.
Yes. So we don't want to just provide informational content to our users. Like, yes, our courses are for our paying users, but we want to provide content on what's important and have free resources as well. Like, we know that not everyone can afford us, not every company can invest. So we want to make sure we have valuable content there for everyone, essentially, to show how to take control of your career, manage a team, to improve. And this is one of the reasons why we love working with the SEO Mindset podcast so much, because it just feels like that we kind of mesh. And I'm so excited for us to start publishing more.
I know this is a word that was thrown a lot around in the 2000s, but when you said mesh and you were doing your actions, I was thinking synergy. That's a good word. Synergy.
Nice corporate word in there. Yeah.
But no, obviously, yeah, it's a no-brainer for Rank Suite and the SEO Mindset to partner, because we're both trying to do the same thing in different ways. So it's lovely that the two can complement each other. So yeah, thank you for agreeing to collaborate and being on board. So yeah, I mean, that's the end of the conversation. Hopefully our listeners are, they're inspired and they really want to go and check out Rank Suite. And just a reminder that if you do check out Rank Suite and you use the code SEO Mindset, not only do you get a discount, you get 30% off, but you also get an extended trial, which is absolutely fabulous. So yeah, thank you very much, Billy, for joining me. Is there anything else you want to say before I call time?
Just thank you. And for the listeners there, please check us out. I hope we have something that can help empower you to have the career and life that you want. And we just are obsessed with the SEO mindset. So listen to every episode.
Wonderful stuff. Right. Go and check that out. Use that code and get developing yourselves. Right. Hello, Tazmin, and welcome to 2024 and our first episode.
So exciting. Season 8. Who knew? Who knew?
Yes, first episode of 2024 and we're in season 8. Can you believe it?
That's brilliant. Brilliant stuff. Did you have a good break? Christmas and New Year?
Yes, I had a wonderful festive break and New Year. Me and Tash did a road trip. So we did a road trip of the UK. So we did the Lake District, Scotland and Newcastle. So it was really good fun. It was really good to take some time out and have some fun, get on the road and spend some time looking at scenery, doing some fun stuff, meeting up with people. So how about yourself?
It was good. We went to my cousin who has bought a new house in Birmingham, and they hosted it, so I didn't have to cook, which was, it's nice. Sometimes, you know what, it's nice. And then the Dubai family came over, so we had the little ones who, because they have to do it for such a short period of time, they see the novelty in wearing Wellington boots and coats and gloves. So that was good fun as well. But yeah, we are back to normal.
I love how that's a novelty to them.
Yeah. In the summer, when it was raining, one of them did say, "It always rains. Why does it always rain?" Yeah, why indeed. But
welcome to the UK. Now, I'm very excited for the first episode back because this week's episode, this week's topic, is based on a talk that you did last year in 2023 at Brighton SEO, right?
Yeah. And it was a topic that was
Take it away.
so really close to my heart. The topic, the title of the podcast is The Most Important Algorithm You Need to Understand. And it's not the one associated with Google. So I'm just clearing it the way right now. The backstory of this was way back when it was lockdown and everyone was working really hard and it was tough. Those days were tough. I remember my manager saying to me, "You need to take some time off." And I'm thinking, where am I going to go? Why do I need to take time off? But the reality was I was tired, I was burnt out, and actually did need the week off. And I thought to myself, if I had full access to planes and everywhere, where would I like to go? I'd like to go to Kerala. What would I like to do in Kerala? I'd like to go to one of those yoga retreats where I was going to eat well and relax and reflect. So I imagined myself being there, and I created like a little retreat program. I was, got in the coconut water of the online shop, but it was the actual reflection program that I created that I was talking about at Brighton, because I decided I was going to journal, I was going to meditate, and I was going to sort out the nonsense that was going on in my head because I was tired, very negative thinking, a lot of negative thinking at the time. And what it did was it made me realize that the life that I was living wasn't the life I wanted. And I'd created a vision board during that week. And it was the steps that I took that changed my career from SEO to the coaching that I do now and the fulfillment and the joy that I get. And I wanted to share it with the audience in Brighton. And being from an SEO background, talking to SEO people, I thought, why not use the analogy of an algorithm? So this is how it works. The components. What are the components of the algorithm? You have inputs, you have processes, and then you have outputs. Would you say that's a fair summary of an algorithm, Sarah?
I mean, yes, makes sense. Makes sense to me. And I just want to say at the beginning, when you introduced the episode topic and you were like, we're going to talk about algorithms, the most important algorithm, but it's not Google. I bet some of our listeners, if they were drinking whatever, they probably spat it out in shock, like, what? But yeah, joking aside, it is important. And yeah, I'd say if I was to sum up an algorithm, yeah, it involves inputs, processes, and outputs. That's the technical inner workings of an algorithm, isn't it?
Yeah. And just so we make it super clear to the listeners, the most important algorithm in your life is that of you. You are the most important algorithm. So don't let Google tell you otherwise. Now, if somebody said, "Oh, this algorithm isn't creating the right outputs; it's rubbish outputs," and you went to them and say, "This isn't okay," and they'd say, "Oh, yeah, well, the inputs aren't okay, and the processing needs a bit tweaking," you'd say, "Well, okay, do it then, wouldn't you?" And if they said, "No, I'm not going to,"
sort it out.
Yeah, you'd say, "What do you mean you're not going to sort it out? It's sort-outable, so sort it out." And that was the reflection that I had, that if I didn't like the outputs of my life, I needed to sort out the inputs and or the processes. And if I wasn't doing that, I was the irresponsible one. I was the one who needed to get my act together, not life or the world, but me.
So you can, if I'm following what you're saying, you can control your output by your input. So what you are doing internally, there is stuff that you can control.
Yeah. So I'm gonna that's roughly the journey that we're going to take in this podcast episode. That, just to recap, you're the most important algorithm in your life. Your algorithm consists of inputs, processes, and outputs. And if you don't like the outputs, then the things that you can change are the inputs or the processes. And we're going to go through each in turn. But that's the summary of what we're going to go through. You ready?
I'm excited.
Right.
I am.
Excellent. So let's start with the inputs. The inputs are, quote unquote, the fuel that you get from the external world. So that's something from the outside coming into you. And I'm going to talk about four main areas. So there's the physical fuel. This is your nutrition, your hydration, your movement, your sleep. They're largely to do with your physical health. And many of us neglect these. So if you're not happy with your outputs, and I don't just mean the way you look or your weight or your stamina, but if you're not happy with the way you are, then look at things like, are you eating properly? Are you taking a break during work? Are you getting outside regularly? Are you sleeping well? Are you mindful of how many hours you're sleeping? Are you sitting down at a table and eating your meal with your family? Because especially with work from home, those boundaries become more and more blurred. We will grab a cup of coffee. We will just have lunch while we're sitting down and working. All of that has an impact to how you function as a human being. And sleep as well.
Makes sense.
Do you have a set bedtime? Because when kids are little and they rub their eyes and oh well, they're tired, you too have an internal clock. I have one, you have one, everyone has one, but we don't pay attention to it. Now if we don't pay attention to a child, they get cranky. Well, guess what? So do you, so do I, but we might get cranky in a different way. So part of it is looking at the physical inputs. Then the next area is your emotional inputs. So this is everything that you're reading, listening, watching. Is it mainly entertainment? Is it mainly educational? Does it enhance you? When you are spending time consuming that emotional input, what's the return on investment you're getting? So if a lot of your time is spent on Netflix or on your phone, what's that giving you? Question. Not telling you what you should do or what you shouldn't do. If a lot of your time is spent reading educational or self-help books, ask yourself, what's the return? Am I actually doing anything about it? So it's another question to ask. The third area is your circle of friends and family. Are they energizing you? Are they depleting you? They're also, part of the inputs into your algorithm. Are they people that you can shine in front of, or do you have to make yourself really small? Because that's going to impact how your algorithm works. The other question is, are you spending time with people where you feel that you are the smartest? Is that serving you, or is it inflating your ego?
There's a saying, isn't there, about you shouldn't be the smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
I mean, I may have fluffed that saying up a little bit, and I might have not got it to like verbatim, but that's basically what it's saying there, isn't it? Like, yeah, don't always aim to be the smartest, because you're not going to learn, are you?
Where's the growth?
Yeah.
And what's the other saying? You're the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with.
I feel like we're completely nailing these sayings right now, but I have heard that one as well. Yeah.
So ask yourself, who are the people around me? How is that serving the outputs of my algorithm? And then the fourth area, and this is really a big bugbear of mine at the moment, is your physical environment. Is it setting you up for success? Is the office clutter-free? Is your fridge filled with nutritional food? Whatever you want to achieve,
Ooh.
is your environment helping you? Hmm. I'm going to take a swig of my tea. If you can keep talking for a moment.
Are you okay? Are we a woman down? I mean, yeah, I love all those 4 key elements that we can be thinking about when we're thinking about what's our input, and it's really helpful to have them summarized: physical, emotional circle, like who's in your inner circle, and your physical environment, because 100% they're all gonna have an impact on your output. And yeah, there's definite things that you've got me thinking about as you've been sharing that. Something that I've got more aware of is knowing people that I spend time with, and knowing the people where I get energy from, that
Yeah.
I'm energized when I'm spending time with them. And on the other side, where you're not. And it's not necessarily a bad thing if not everyone you're spending time with is energizing you, because people bring different things. If they're toxic, that's another kettle of fish, isn't it? But
Yeah.
I suppose it's just being aware of, like, okay, your energy levels, I suppose, isn't it? And everything has an impact on your output and what you're doing and how you are in the world, I suppose.
Yeah. I think for me, the two are the physical health, as you can tell, and my physical environment. The house has become very cluttered. I can't find the things I want to find. I go to cook a meal, all the spices fall over each other, and it's all bothering me
Oh
because
gosh.
nothing is flowing freely. It just feels like a chore. So this weekend is declutter
Yeah.
weekend.
Do you know what I saw when I was doom scrolling, as they
Yeah.
call it, um, on Instagram or whatever social media? There was lots of people decluttering, ready for
Yeah.
2024, sort
Yeah.
of. And there was a trend. So instead of having resolutions, you say, okay, these are the things that are in this year and these are the things that are out.
Yeah.
So that was quite interesting to see. But just to add onto your point about nutrition,
Yeah.
something that me and Tash find is when we do a food shop and we plan our meals and we have structure,
Yeah.
we're good at eating healthy, because we
Yeah.
spent time putting together, okay, this is a nutritious meal for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The times where we kind of fall off the wagon, so to
Yeah.
speak, is when we run out of food or we haven't had chance to
Yeah.
buy supplies or food in, because we're both busy individuals, and before we know it, it's 8 o'clock on a Tuesday and it's like, okay, we need food, there's nothing to cook. So I completely get it. Like, you need to set yourself up for a win rather than setting yourself up for a fail, don't you?
Yeah. So those were the inputs. I think it's a good time to have a bit of a break. And then after the break, I'm going to go through the processes and then a little bit of a visualization exercise about the outputs.
Oh, so come back, folks. Come back.
Right, Sarah. Are you ready for the next part where we're going to go through the processes now?
I am, and I'm very excited for a bit of visualization later as
Right.
well.
So before we do that, we're going to talk about what are the processes. So the processes are about how you internally function. By and large, it's your mindset and the way you think. And to be able to figure out how you are processing information, how you are dealing with situations, you have to become really self-aware of who you are and why you do what you do. And what this does is it gives you the ability then to change in your life, change in how you respond. And that's really essential for setting yourself up for success. So it's things like, how strong is your mindset? Do you take ownership? Are you optimistic? How do you see the world? How do you see others? What's the story you're telling yourself? Are you telling yourself that, oh, I'm never going to get promoted, I'm never going to be able to be successful? Or is the story that you tell yourself, I always get the opportunities I'm seeking, I always make the most of it? Because that's going to impact the outputs of your life. Other things are, what do you believe about yourself? Do you believe that you have potential? Or do you believe that you'll never be able to do the things that you want to do? How well do you manage your stress? That's another biggie, because if you can stay calm in a crisis, the outputs of your life are going to be different to if you create drama.
That's
What
such a key
happens?
one to try and.
So key.
Sorry.
Mm,
Yeah, because that's such an uncontrollable, and we all have to deal with stress.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Stress happens all the time. So if we can nail staying calm in a
Yeah.
crisis, yeah. Sorry, continue.
And I'm going to just elaborate on that. So in order to be able to stay calm in a crisis, you have to be able to regulate your emotions. If you are not eating well, exercising well, sleeping well, you're going to be more on edge, meaning that you're going to be less able to stay calm in a crisis. So they all are connected.
Do you know what? That's
Yeah,
a podcast episode in itself.
it
Right.
is.
What else? What else is there?
Another biggie. Do you have the resilience to pick yourself up when things go wrong? I mean, things will go wrong. If you want to try something new, if you want to go for a new goal, just take it for granted. It's not going to go right the first time. How are you going to deal with that? Another key one is, do you know what your values are, and is your life aligned to them? For me, I've learned that when I was fighting the value I had of being a homemaker, and not achieving the goals I wanted to achieve, that used to create this inner tussle. I've now accepted that a big part of my life, an important part of my life, is looking after my home and my family. So now when I set goals, I make sure that it's aligned with that, and part of why I have this business is so that I can work the hours I want to work, by and large. I do know that, it's 8 o'clock at night and we're recording a podcast, but that's what works for me. Um, are you spending time on things that matter, or are you wasting time on things that don't matter? So all of these things, your inner chatter, your story, your belief system, your value system, the baggage that you hold on to, how you manage time, how you manage energy, all of this is so key to how you're working internally, and it will impact the outputs that you have in your life.
100%. 100%.
Have you got any to add to that? I mean, there's hundreds that you could add, but is anything that's that's coming up in your mind?
I mean, I think you covered a lot of the main ones and the big ones, and I'm sure our listeners, as you were given some examples, they could think of things that were relevant to them. But yeah, just to sort of echo, like this, how you manage stress, making sure that you see potential in yourself and seeing situations in a positive light, maybe
Mm.
giving being positive and telling a positive story about yourself, thinking about your mindset. I mean, I'm just echoing everything that you've said. And yeah, there's going to be so much more that our listeners will probably be thinking, and this and that. But other things is like your confidence, resilience sort of thing. All of these things matter, and I think they're all underpinned by self-awareness, and I think we talk about self-awareness a lot on this podcast. But the more that you know about yourself, the more that you know, okay, this is how I deal with these situations, this is how I am as a person, then you're going to be in a better position, aren't you?
Yeah. And if any of our listeners want, in the show notes, I'll be putting a link to a free ebook that they can download that'll help them through the journaling process and learning how to become self-aware. But if, other things like, do you end up reacting to a situation and then think later, I wish I'd done something different? Because all the things that we've talked about here, everything you can change. None of it is set in stone. So if you feel that your negative chatter is having an impact to your outputs in the way you don't want them to be, or your belief system, or your confidence, these are all things that you can change in yourself.
And you can also learn from experiences. So say, for example, you find yourself in a situation, and with what you just said there about how you reacted, any situation, life is going to throw situations at you all the time. And if you can reflect and be like, oh, actually, reflecting back on how I reacted in that situation, and I want to be different, I want to have a different mindset, or I want to be different next time, that's going to help you with this as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. And that reflection process, journaling, is so key to be able to do that. And I'm hoping to record an episode on journaling this season. Fingers crossed.
You heard it here first. Right, is it time for visualization?
It is. Right. So this is how it's going to go. We're going on to the fourth part now, which is your outputs. So we've talked about the inputs, we've talked about the processes. Now we're going on to the outputs, and the outputs are everything that makes up your life. So visualize your life as you're in a hot air balloon, and your life is, your health, your relationships, your career, your social life, your character, your goals, your vision. And when we're young and we're really full of energy, we're not afraid of anything, are we? Life just feels very light. This hot air balloon is, light and floaty. But when we get older, our responsibilities increase, but we also lose that sense of adventure and sense of self, and we're more concerned about conforming rather than being us. We need that validation. So when you're in this hot air balloon, hot air balloons have got sandbags around them, right? Now those sandbags are the things that are pulling you down. Each sandbag, imagine it has a word on it. What are the sandbags that are weighing you down? Is it fear of failure? Is it fear of being yourself? Is it lack of confidence? Is it your health? Is it your inner chatter? What are the sandbags? So that's one thing I want you to visualize. And then the fuel going into the hot air balloon, that's the things that you're excited about, your confidence, your attitude, your dreams, your sense of purpose, gratitude, everything that is going to lift you. Now, while you're in that hot air balloon, are you on the ground because those sandbags too heavy? Or are you floating up but struggling a bit? You're trying to get off the ground but keep on coming back down again. Or are you, phew, like you're up there? Those sandbags have got no chance of holding you down. Where are you? Are you floating? Are you sinking?
That's such a lovely visualization and a lovely way of putting together everything that we've spoken about. And I've just thought of another one is that maybe you have been soaring and you're high, but something has happened and you're starting to sink.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that's a great visualization and a great analogy, because you can apply at different times, can't you?
Yeah.
And you can readjust.
Absolutely. And you can visualize a sandbag that is holding you down and you can cut it off. There's nothing stopping you. Cut it off now.
Can
And
I visualize my bags as something to pop? Because I think that would be quite
yeah,
satisfying, like with a big needle.
Yeah, could do. There'd be like those water balloons.
Yeah,
'Cause
or a
they're heavy.
whack-a-mole. That might be fun as well. I don't know. I'm getting sidetracked.
You
with
do
my
whatever you want to
visualizations.
do. But I think sometimes it can be, it's finding the tool that works for you. So if it's journaling and writing it all down, do that. If this helps, then fine, do that. Whatever it is. I think, and sometimes have a combination, because it's about gaining clarity. And this whole process is about gaining clarity. What are the outputs of your life that you are unhappy with? What do you need to change? Which bit of your inputs do you need to change? Which bit of your processing do you need to change? I know that, like I said before I had my coughing spat, one of the inputs is my physical environment. I'm not happy with the amount of clutter. What that does is it makes me feel a bit stressful. What that does is I'm not as productive. So my output of not being as productive as I want to be means that I have to change something in my inputs.
Yeah. Everything is under your control, isn't it? Because it can feel at times that things get out of control and there is no way to sort of get it back in. But there is always, we can, just like any algorithm, you can change the output.
Yeah.
And you can change the output itself as well, can't you? That's what we've just sort of said. But any output can be changed by input and processes. You just need to be aware.
Yeah.
Right? And I feel like this is such a first strong episode of the SEO Mindset podcast to come back on, Tazmin. So thank you.
Thank you as well. And I think right now, especially with people setting goals, and I know people get put off with setting goals. For me, it's about living your life more intentionally. Call them new intentions, call them your new wishes, call them whatever you want. But if there's something that you want in your life, or something that you want to change in your life, then you can start with this process, and it at least gives you some clarity on the way forward.
100%. 100%. Well, I definitely feel more fulfilled after that episode, Tazmin. So thank you so much. I'm sure our listeners feel the same.
Thank you as well.
And we'll be back, and there'll be more from us, won't we? We've just started. We've just scratched the surface for 2024. This is our first episode. Expect more. We've got other great topics lined up. We've got cracking guests, haven't we? So it's going to be a good year.
It is.
And a reminder again, if you'd like to support me and Tazmin, if you'd like to support the SEO Mindset podcast, there's lots of different ways that you can do that. But the ones that I'm going to share with you now are you can donate. So we are on Buy Me a Coffee, where you can give us a one-off donation of £5. If you would like to do that, you can find the link in the show notes. We'd also recommend subscribing to the podcast so that you get notified whenever new episodes are available. So then you never miss anything new that we post. And again, if you follow the link in our show notes, you'll be taken to a page where at a click of a button, you can subscribe to our podcast on your preferred playing platform. So you don't even have to search for us. All you need to do is click a button, select which one you prefer, whether that's Spotify, Apple, whatever it is, not Google Podcasts because that's going away. You'll be taken to our page and you can subscribe. So thank you. Right. Should we say goodbye and until next time, Tazmin?
Yeah, goodbye until next time. And don't forget to look in the show notes for lots of resources.
Yes. And I think you said you're going to add an ebook as well.
Yeah, do it right now.
So make sure to do that. Wonderful. Right. Goodbye, everyone.
Sarah here, just quickly popping on to let you know about how you can support the podcast, how you can support me and Tazmin. So first things first, we are set up on Buy Me a Coffee, which means you can give us a one-off donation. Thank you to everyone who has done that already. If you fancy doing that, the link is in the show notes and we'd be very much appreciative. And another way is help us spread the word. Get more people to know about the podcast. Tell your colleagues, friends, loved ones, hey, even your pets. Next time you're listening to an episode and you think someone would really love it, find the link and why not share it with them? What if you could take control of your career growth on your own terms? Well, that's exactly what Rank Suite is here for. Rank Suite is more than just SEO. It's a complete digital marketing training platform. With courses covering technical SEO, content, and analytics, they give you the tools to grow your skills at your own pace. There's no shortcuts, no gimmicks, just real sustainable strategies taught by industry experts who live and breathe this stuff every day. Plus, it's packed with worksheets and challenges to make sure what you learn sticks. Are you ready to take the next step? Start your journey with Rank Suite today by clicking the link in the show notes. Use the code SEO Mindset at checkout to get a 30% discount and an extended 21-day free trial.